What if the chaos in your mind, the endless loop of thoughts, doubts, and emotions, wasn't actually who you are? What if all the noise you've been identifying with is just an elaborate illusion created by the ego? That might sound strange, but stay with me. Beneath the layers of overthinking and emotional turbulence lies something far more profound: a silent observer. This observer isn't caught up in the stories your ego tells you. It doesn't react or judge. It simply watches. And the truth is, the more you connect with this observer, the freer you become. There's a reason this video found you, and your ego probably hates that you're still watching, because the moment you truly understand what we're about to say, you can't unsee it. The ego survives on your blindness. It feeds on illusion. It needs you to keep identifying with the mask. But if you're here, it means you've already started to feel the cracks, the exhaustion, the constant performing, the need to prove, protect, and perfect, and it's wearing you down. You're starting to notice the voice in your head isn't really you. The stories you tell yourself aren't really true. And the image you keep trying to maintain, it's draining you. This video is not here to destroy your ego. It's here to expose it. And once the light touches it, it can't run the show like it used to. The ego is subtle. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It whispers things like, "Don't let them see you struggle. You need to win this. If they don't like you, you're not enough. Be smart. Be spiritual. Be better than them." It doesn't care if you're spiritual or not. It'll wear any mask, monk, rebel, overachiever, victim, as long as it keeps you separate from your real self. Because here's what the ego fears most: stillness, silence, truth. It hates when you pause. It hates when you breathe. It hates when you stop reaching, stop chasing, stop controlling. Because that's when you come back. That's when the real you starts to wake up. Here's something no one really tells you. The ego doesn't just live in arrogance or control. It lives in insecurity, in overthinking, in needing to be good, in needing to be healed, spiritual, better. It's smart. It doesn't care what role it plays, as long as it stays the center of attention. So when you start to grow, when you start to heal, when you start to wake up, the ego doesn't die. It just changes outfits. Suddenly it becomes the healed one, the deep one, the "I'm more self-aware than you" version of yourself. It sounds like, "I'm doing the work, but they're not. I'm spiritual, but they're lost. I've done the shadow work, I've moved past that." But inside, you're still comparing. You're still judging. You're still protecting an identity, just a more enlightened one. This is how the ego survives inside your healing. And the danger here is this: you stop seeing your blind spots because you're too busy being convinced you've already seen it all. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They become spiritually intelligent, but emotionally reactive. They speak like sages, but still shrink when triggered. They post about stillness while spiraling in silence, because they never humbled themselves to ask, what part of me is still hiding? You can do yoga, you can meditate, you can burn sage, fast for 48 hours, take a silent retreat. And still the ego can be in the driver's seat. It just swapped the suit and tie for prayer beads. So the truth, the ego doesn't care how you feel. It only cares who's in control. And unless you're watching closely, unless you're brutally honest with yourself, you'll mistake ego management for freedom. You'll think you're evolving, but you're just upgrading the mask. Let's try something together. Where are you right now? Are you thinking about your day, planning your next move, replaying something someone said earlier that just didn't sit right? Because that's what the ego does. It keeps you moving fast, not to get somewhere, but so you don't stop long enough to realize you're not even the one driving. It fills your head with noise. It gives you a to-do list called Proving Your Worth. It keeps you productive, distracted, consumed, not because you're growing, but because you're avoiding. Avoiding what? Silence, truth, yourself. Let's be honest. When was the last time you were really still and not reaching for your phone? When was the last time you didn't try to fix, change, or understand something, but just let it be? The ego doesn't want that, because in that stillness, the masks slip, and that scares it, because without the overthinking, without the roles you play, without the story of who you're supposed to be, what's left? Maybe that's the question your ego has been dodging your whole life. Because here's the thing, the ego doesn't just survive by controlling others. It survives by controlling you, by making you feel like you're never quite there. Like you're almost enough, but not yet. Like if you just achieve this, get that, fix this, prove that, then finally you'll be okay. But you won't, because peace isn't waiting at the end of that chase. Peace comes the moment you stop believing the chase is necessary. Let that sink in. You don't need to abandon your goals. You don't need to kill your ego. You just need to stop following it blindly, because the ego will keep you busy with everything, except what actually sets you free. There's something strange that happens when you stop trying to be someone. You never had to be anything more than what you already are. And in that moment, when the performance ends, when the tension in your chest releases, when you're not trying to win or impress or prove or correct, you feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the kind that comes from meditation. Not the kind that comes from a perfect morning routine, but the kind of peace that whispers, "I'm okay, even if nothing changes." That's what the ego has been hiding from you. Because when you stop living through the ego, you stop needing constant validation. You stop trying to fix every version of how people see you. You stop turning your life into a resume, and suddenly, you're here. Like really here, present, aware, alive. You start noticing small things again, the way your breath feels, the way the light hits your wall in the morning, the way someone's laugh makes you feel warm inside. That's the real you waking up, not the better version, not the upgraded, optimized, self-improved version, the one that existed before fear, before performance, before the world taught you how to shrink and strive and mask and chase. And once you feel this, you never want to go back, because nothing the ego ever promised you, the recognition, the praise, the control, the "they finally see me" moment. None of it compares to the feeling of being whole with nothing to prove. This isn't the end of the work. It's the beginning of walking differently, moving through life without armor, and realizing the most powerful version of you was the unprotected one all along. Here's what no one tells you. The moment this video ends, your ego will come back. Quietly, like it never left. It'll start telling stories again. It'll remind you to check your phone. It'll whisper that this was just a video and you've got real life to deal with. And that's fine, because this work was never meant to protect you from the ego. It was meant to prepare you for it. So the question isn't, did this video change you? It's, what will you do the next time your ego shows up? When you're triggered, when you feel unseen, when you're tempted to control, to defend, to prove. Will you let the ego speak for you? Or will you pause just long enough to realize you have a choice now? This isn't about being perfect. This is about being aware. So don't look for a big shift. Look for small pauses, quiet noticing, little moments where you catch yourself and choose truth over the mask. That's not entertainment. That's transformation, the slow, real kind. Let the ego come. Let it speak. And this time, just don't believe everything it says.
I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is, who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I? I, myself. I don't think there can be any more fascinating preoccupation than that, because it's so mysterious, it's so elusive. Because what you are in your inmost being escapes your examination in rather the same way that you can't look directly into your own eyes without using a mirror. You can't bite your own teeth, and you can't touch the tip of this finger with the tip of this finger. And that's why there's always an element of profound mystery in the problem of who we are. Most of us feel I, ego, myself, my source of consciousness, to be a center of awareness and a source of action that resides in the middle of a bag of skin. And so we have what I have called the conception of ourselves as a skin-encapsulated ego. We have the sensation of ourselves as being just the spotlight, just the ego that looks and attends to this and that and the other. And so we ignore and are unaware of the vast, vast extent of our being. That which you really are, fundamentally and forever, is the whole of being. All that there is, the works, that's you.